Ice melted in crystal glasses I'd spent a fortune to fill. The rooftop lounge shimmered under string lights I'd chosen myself, while a jazz quartet played to a crowd that kept glancing toward the elevator. Everyone asked where my family was. I smiled through clenched teeth and lied about traffic. But my parents weren't stuck anywhere, they simply chose not to come. No warning. No apology. Just empty chairs where they should have been celebrating the biggest achievement of my life. What they didn't know was that this wasn't just another work dinner. This was the night I'd become the youngest senior director in my company's history, with a salary that would make their heads spin. For years, they'd treated my success like background noise while celebrating my brother's mediocrity. They'd taken my money without hesitation but never once offered their pride. That night, standing alone among colleagues who barely knew me, I finally understood. Their love had always come with conditions I could never meet. And I was done trying. Welcome to Revenge with Precious, where we share real stories of betrayal, resilience, and the courage to stand up for yourself. These are tales of people who refused to stay silent, who drew boundaries when love turned toxic, and who chose their peace over family obligation. If you've ever felt invisible in your own family, these stories are for you. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss a story that might change how you see your own life. Please, watch till the end. Let's get started. Champagne pools formed rings on the marble bar top. I watched them spread and merge, tiny golden lakes reflecting lights I'd hung myself 3 hours earlier. The rooftop lounge stretched 40 feet in every direction, glass walls offering Denver skyline like a painting I'd paid $12,000 to frame for one night. A server adjusted white orchid centerpieces while the jazz trio unpacked instruments near the far corner. My assistant Kimiko checked names against a guest list mounted on an easel wrapped in silver ribbon. 42 confirmations. 40 people from the office, industry contacts, even my company's CEO. 2 names sat at the very top, handwritten in my own careful script, Veronica and Thomas Ashford. My parents. The elevator chimed every few minutes. Co-workers emerged in cocktail dresses and pressed suits, faces bright with curiosity. They congratulated me before even knowing what they were celebrating. I shook hands, accepted hugs, and kept my eyes on the elevator doors. 7:15 became 7:30. Then 8. Kimiko touched my elbow gently. Ilara, should we start? I nodded, throat tight. My phone screen stayed dark. No missed calls. No texts. Just silence wrapped in expensive perfume and polite laughter echoing around me like mockery. When the CEO raised his glass to toast our youngest senior director ever, the applause felt hollow. Everyone cheered. Everyone except the 2 people I'd actually wanted here. The morning before the party, I'd reread their texts obsessively. My father's message had arrived first. Of course we'll be there, sweetheart. Wouldn't miss it for anything. 3 blue checkmarks. Delivered, read, promised. My mother followed an hour later. What should I wear? Is it formal? So proud of you, honey. A heart emoji. Pink and wholehearted, or so I'd believed. I'd screenshot both messages, embarrassed by my own need for proof. Even then, some instinct warned me to save evidence of their words. I'd learned long ago that memory could be weaponized, twisted into something I'd supposedly misunderstood. Sitting on my apartment floor the night before, I'd practiced what I'd say when they arrived. How I'd pull them aside after the first toast and tell them the truth. Not just senior director, but the salary. The stock options. The corner office being renovated with my name already engraved on the door. I wanted to see their faces when they realized I'd made it. That their dismissive daughter, the one they'd always called too ambitious and too serious, had just signed a contract worth $1.2 million annually. Plus bonuses. But as champagne bottles emptied and the skyline darkened from amber to deep violet, I understood something sharp and final. They weren't coming. They'd known they wouldn't come even when they typed those pretty lies. My name is Ilara Ashford, and I've spent most of my life waiting for moments that never arrived. When I was 17 and graduated second in my class, my father left my high school ceremony 40 minutes early. He claimed the parking lot would turn into chaos if he didn't beat the rush. My mother stayed, but spent the entire reception on her phone coordinating food for my brother Nathaniel's baseball game that evening. I remember standing alone near the gym entrance, diploma clutched against my chest, watching families pose for pictures. Someone's dad lifted his daughter onto his shoulders. Another family passed around a bouquet so large it required 2 people to carry it. My mother finally looked up from her phone. Ready to go? We need to pick up subs for Nathaniel's team. No photo. No congratulations dinner. Just a drive-through on the way to someone else's celebration. I told myself it didn't matter. That achievements were their own reward. That mature people didn't need external validation. But alone in my childhood bedroom that night, I'd cried into my pillow, ashamed of wanting something as simple as their pride. That pattern repeated itself through college, through graduate school, through every milestone I'd worked myself sick to reach. Each time, I made excuses for them. They were busy. They didn't understand corporate culture. They showed love differently. I'd been lying to myself for 15 years. Nathaniel had always been the star without trying. At 29, he'd been fired from 3 separate sales jobs. The first time, he blamed his manager's unrealistic expectations. The second, he claimed the company was toxic. The third time, he simply shrugged and said the work wasn't fulfilling. Each firing was met with sympathy from our parents. They hosted a backyard barbecue after his 3rd interview for a 4th position. Steaks on the grill, neighbors invited, congratulations banner strung between fence posts. He didn't get that job either. Meanwhile, I'd published 2 patents in machine learning systems by age 27. When I told my parents over Sunday dinner, my father nodded vaguely. That's nice, honey. My mother asked if patents made money. Not directly, I'd explained, but they establish credibility in my field. She'd turned to Nathaniel. Sweetheart, pass the potatoes? The conversation moved on. I remember staring at my plate, fork frozen midair, feeling something crack inside my chest. Not anger exactly. Something quieter and more permanent. Later, when I won an Industry Innovation Award, I didn't bother telling them. I accepted the trophy in a hotel ballroom surrounded by strangers who understood what I'd built. On the drive home, my phone buzzed with a text from my mother. Nathaniel got a callback from that tech startup. Keep your fingers crossed. I deleted the message without responding. The small loans started 3 years ago. My father called on a Tuesday evening, voice casual. Elara, honey, we're a little short this month. Could you spot us maybe 300? Just until the insurance check clears. I'd sent 500 without hesitation. Family helped family, I'd been taught. 2 weeks later, my mother texted, could you help with your cousin Brielle's community college tuition? Just 2,000. We do it, but things are tight. I sent the money that afternoon. Then came requests for car repairs, medical copays, credit card minimums, utilities during a rough winter. Each amount felt reasonable in isolation. Individually, they were just acts of love. But I'm an AI systems engineer. I build predictive models for a living. Patterns are what I do. So I started tracking the transfers in a private spreadsheet. Dates, amounts, stated reasons. Not because I didn't trust them, because I needed to understand where my money was going. By year 2, the total reached $68,000. None of it had been repaid. Not a single dollar. When I hesitated before sending money for emergency roof repairs, my father's tone cooled. I thought family mattered to you. The guilt was immediate and suffocating. I sent the money within an hour. Only later did I wonder why their emergencies always lined up perfectly with my bonus checks. The worst part wasn't the money. It was the silence when I needed them. After my first serious relationship ended, I'd sat in my car outside my apartment, sobbing so hard I couldn't catch my breath. Dominic had left without explanation, his things cleared from our shared space while I was at a conference. Just a note on the counter, this isn't working. I'm sorry. I'd called my father, desperate for reassurance. He answered on the 4th ring. Elara? What's wrong? Dominic left, I choked out. I don't understand what I did. Silence stretched. Then, you need to stop being so dramatic. Relationships end. You'll be fine. Dad, Listen, your mother and I are about to sit down for dinner. Can we talk about this later? My mother's voice in the background, tell her breakups happen. Ask what she did wrong. I'd hung up before hearing more. That night, I learned that pain has a sound. It's the dial tone after someone hangs up. It's your own breathing in an empty car. It's realizing the people who raised you will never be the people you need. I drove home, washed my face, and ordered takeout. No one checked on me that week. 2 months later, my mother mentioned the breakup casually. "Oh, you're over that whole Dominic thing now, right?" I smiled. "Yeah, all good." Another lie I told to keep the peace. The Thanksgiving incident was the beginning of the end. I'd spent 2 days preparing. Turkey brined overnight, homemade cranberry sauce, 3 types of potatoes because I couldn't remember who liked what. My apartment smelled like butter and rosemary. I'd invited them over with genuine excitement. "Just us," I'd said. "Small and cozy." My mother confirmed 2 days before. My father texted a thumbs-up emoji. Thanksgiving morning, my phone buzzed at 9 a.m. Change of plans. Nathaniel's girlfriend wants to host something at her place. Family only. Hope you understand. Mom. I stood in my kitchen, surrounded by food I'd cooked for ghosts. "Family only," I whispered. I wasn't family apparently. I ate mashed potatoes standing at the counter, phone face down so I wouldn't see their inevitable posts. But curiosity won. At 7 p.m., I opened Instagram. There they were, my parents, Nathaniel, his girlfriend Sienna. Everyone grinning around a table that looked professionally catered. My mother's caption, "Grateful for family. Nothing else matters." Nathaniel had carved the turkey. Someone commented, "Best son ever." My father replied, "We're blessed." I turned my phone off and threw away 4 pounds of turkey. Then I sat on my couch in the dark and cried until my face swelled. That was the night I stopped believing things would change. They never told anyone what I actually did. At weddings, family reunions, neighborhood barbecues, my mother introduced me the same way, "This is Alara. She works in tech." Vague. Dismissive. Like I filed spreadsheets. In reality, I led AI integration systems for Castellan Global, a multinational firm managing predictive analytics for Fortune 500 clients. My systems handled billions in automated decision-making. Once, at my cousin's wedding, someone asked what tech meant. I smiled. "I'm a senior systems architect. I develop machine learning models for." My mother interrupted. "It's very complicated. Lots of computer stuff." The woman nodded politely and changed subjects. Later, I pulled my mother aside. "Why do you do that?" "Do what?" "Minimize what I do." She blinked, genuinely confused. "I'm not. I just don't want to bore people with jargon." "But you tell everyone about Nathaniel's sales calls." Her face hardened. "Don't make this a thing, Alara. You've always been so sensitive." I walked away before she could see my hands shaking. That night, lying in a hotel bed, I Googled "Why do parents favor one child?" The articles felt like reading my own diary. Golden child. Scapegoat. Conditional love. I closed the browser. Some truths hurt worse than ignorance. The $20,000 request came exactly 1 week before my promotion party. My father called mid-morning, voice strained. "Alara, I hate to ask, but we're in a bind. Medical bills from your mother's procedure. We're short about 20,000. I froze at my desk. 20,000? I know it's a lot, but we wouldn't ask if it wasn't urgent. Something in his tone felt rehearsed. Practiced. What procedure? I asked carefully. Her back. The surgery we mentioned. I didn't remember any mention of surgery. Dad, I'm not comfortable with that amount right now. Silence. Heavy and accusatory. Not comfortable, he repeated flatly. I've been helping for years. I just need. We raised you, Alara. Clothed you. Fed you. And now you can't help when we need it. My throat tightened. That's not fair. Fair? You want to talk about fair? His voice rose. Fine. Forget I asked. The line went dead. I stared at my phone, heart hammering. Within an hour, my mother texted, very disappointed in you. No explanation. Just judgment. I didn't respond. For the first time, I simply let their anger sit unanswered. That night, I slept better than I had in months. 3 days later, my mother sent an apology that wasn't one. "We understand you have your own life now. Money isn't everything." I read it 5 times, searching for warmth. There was none. The phrase "your own life now" landed like an accusation, as if choosing boundaries meant choosing abandonment. I screenshot the message and saved it in a folder I'd titled Records. Not for revenge. Just clarity. That week, something inside me shifted. Not dramatically. Just a quiet internal click, like a lock turning. I stopped checking my phone obsessively. Stopped crafting careful responses designed to avoid conflict. Stopped carrying their disappointment like it was mine to fix. When Nathaniel texted asking if I could loan him $3,000 for a business opportunity, I replied simply, no. He didn't respond. My mother called an hour later. "Nathaniel said you refused to help him." "That's correct. He's your brother. And I'm allowed to say no." She sighed, long and martyred. "I don't know what's happened to you." "I grew up," I said quietly. Another silence. Then she hung up. I set my phone down and returned to work. No guilt. No second guessing. Just relief. The promotion party invitation went out 2 weeks later. I kept it simple. Elegant cardstock, embossed lettering. "You're invited to a celebration dinner. June 14th, 7 p.m. Skyline Rooftop Lounge. Formal attire. Bring nothing, just yourselves." No mention of the promotion. No hint of the salary. Just an invitation to show up for me. I mailed one to my parents. Hand-addressed. Sealed with wax. Then I waited. Their response came via text 3 days later. "My mother, we'll be there. What's the occasion?" I replied, "You'll see. It's a surprise." My father added, "Sounds fancy. Looking forward to it." I wanted to believe them. Desperately. So I put a deposit on the venue. $2,500. Non-refundable. I hired the jazz trio. Ordered champagne, premium selections. Hired Kimiko to manage the event professionally. This wasn't just another dinner. This was the moment they'd finally see me. I told myself it would be different this time. Deep down, I knew better. The day of the party, I woke at 5 a.m., too anxious to sleep. I tried calling my mother at noon. Voicemail. Texted my father at 2. No response. By 4, panic set in. I called again. My mother answered, sounding distracted. "Elara? What's wrong?" "Just checking you're still coming tonight." "Tonight?" A pause. "Oh, the dinner thing." "Yes, of course. 7 p.m. sharp." "We know." Her tone carried faint annoyance. "We'll be there." But something in her voice felt off. Hollow. I arrived at the venue at 5:30. Kimiko was already setting up, directing servers with brisk efficiency. "Everything looks perfect," I told her. She smiled. "Your parents will love it." I nodded, ignoring the knot in my stomach. By 6:45, guests began arriving. Colleagues I respected. My CEO, Grayson Vale, who rarely attended company events. Even competitors I'd worked with on joint projects. Everyone came. Everyone except the 2 people who mattered most. At 7:15, Kimiko approached gently. "Should I call them?" "No," I said. "They'll be here." But I knew. Standing there among people who barely knew me, I finally understood. They were never coming. The toast happened at 8:30. Grayson Vale stood near the ice sculpture, a ridiculous 50-pound piece shaped like a circuit board, something I'd commissioned as a joke. He tapped his glass with a fork, the sound sharp and commanding. "If I can have everyone's attention." The room quieted. 40 faces turned toward him. "We're here tonight to celebrate someone extraordinary." Elara Ashford joined Castellan Global 6 years ago as a junior analyst. Since then, she's built systems that redefined how we integrate predictive models across industries. Applause rippled. I forced a smile. 3 months ago, she led the largest AI deployment in our company's history. Flawless execution. 0 downtime. $40 million in new revenue. More applause. Louder now. Which is why I'm thrilled to announce her promotion to Senior Director of AI Systems. Youngest in company history. The applause erupted into cheers. Someone whistled. Grayson raised his glass higher. Starting salary, $1.2 million annually. The room went silent for half a second, then exploded. People rushed forward, hugging me, shaking my hand. Kimiko beamed. Someone popped another champagne bottle. But I stood frozen, staring at the elevator doors. Empty. The biggest moment of my life, and my parents had missed it entirely. I left the party at 10. No dramatics. No tears. Just a quiet exit through the service hallway while guests laughed and drank. Kimiko followed me. Ilara, wait. I'm fine. I pressed the elevator button. Thank you for tonight. You did an amazing job. But the doors opened. I stepped inside. I just need to go. She nodded slowly, understanding without words. As the doors closed, I caught my reflection in the polished steel. Expensive dress. Perfect makeup. Empty eyes. The descent felt longer than it was. Outside, the June air was cool and clean. I stood on the sidewalk, watching taxis glide past, and pulled out my phone. I opened my banking app and navigated to transaction history. Every transfer to my parents glowed in neat rows. Dates. Amounts. Reasons that now felt like lies. Then I opened my contacts. I scrolled to Mom and Dad. My thumb hovered over the delete button. Not yet, I thought. Not until I understand. Instead, I called my assistant. Kimiko. I need you to pull something for me. Every financial record I have. Transfers, emails, text receipts. Everything involving Veronica and Thomas Ashford. She hesitated. Are you sure? Completely. I'll have it by morning. I hung up and walked toward my car. The night felt different. Clearer somehow. For the first time, I wasn't chasing their approval. I was chasing the truth. The file arrived at 7 a.m. Kimiko had compiled everything: bank statements, Venmo transfers, scan checks, text threads. Organized by date, cross-referenced, highlighted. I made coffee and opened the first document. $68,000 over 3 years. Every cent documented. But it was the notes column that caught my attention. Next to tuition assistance for Brielle, Kimiko had added, Brielle graduated community college 4 years ago. Currently employed full-time. Next to car repairs, she'd noted, no vehicle registered under Thomas or Veronica Ashford during this period. Next to medical bills, she wrote, no surgical claims filed with insurance in past 5 years. I stared at the screen, pulse rising. Every reason they'd given me was a lie. I kept reading. Transfers sent to their joint account. But then, withdrawals. Same-day transfers to a business account, Ashford Solutions LLC. I Googled the name. One result. A Nevada-registered shell company. Owner, Nathaniel Ashford. My hands shook. They hadn't needed the money. They'd funneled it to my brother. I pulled up property records. Ashford Solutions LLC owned a condo in Scottsdale, Arizona. Purchase date, 18 months ago. My money had bought my brother real estate. I closed the laptop and sat in silence. Not crying. Not angry. Just done. I didn't call my parents. I called a lawyer. Her name was Margot Stroud, a corporate attorney I'd worked with on contracts. She agreed to meet me the same day. Her office overlooked downtown, floor-to-ceiling windows framing the city like a dare. I laid the documents on her desk. Is this fraud? Margot scanned the pages, expression neutral. After 5 minutes, she looked up. Technically, yes. They solicited funds under false pretenses. You have documentation proving misrepresentation. Can I press charges? You could. But family cases are complicated. Messy. Public. I leaned back. What if I don't want it public? She smiled faintly. Then we make them nervous. Send a cease and desist to the LLC. Copy their accountant. Make it clear you know. And then you wait. See how they react. I nodded. Do it. Margot drafted the letter that afternoon. Professional, clinical, devastating. Ashford Solutions LLC is hereby notified to cease all financial activity involving funds sourced from Alara Ashford. Failure to comply will result in legal action. She sent copies to Nathaniel, their accountant, and their bank. I didn't warn them. Didn't give them a chance to spin the story first. By evening, my mother called. I let it ring. The voicemail was frantic. Alara, what is this? Nathaniel just got some legal letter? Something about fraud? This is insane. Call me back immediately. I deleted it. My father texted, we need to talk. This is getting out of hand. I replied, I'm unavailable. Nathaniel sent a paragraph-long message calling me ungrateful, selfish, accusing me of tearing the family apart over money. I screenshot it and forwarded it to Margot. She responded within minutes, document everything. Don't engage. The next day, my mother tried again. This time her voice was softer, calculated. Honey, there's been a misunderstanding. We didn't know Nathaniel was using that account. We thought it was just helping out. We'd never hurt you intentionally. The word intentionally hung in the air. I texted back one sentence, I need space. No explanation. No debate. They didn't deserve more. That night, I blocked their numbers. Not permanently. Just long enough to breathe. The silence that followed felt like oxygen. 2 weeks later, the retaliation began. Nathaniel posted on Facebook, some people forget where they came from when money changes them. Family should come first. Always. My mother commented, so true. Heart breaks watching it. My father added, praying for her. The post went semi-viral among our extended family. Cousins messaged me, confused. Friends from high school sent concerned DMs. I ignored all of it. Then the anonymous email arrived at my company. Subject, Alara Ashford, IRS investigation concern. The message claimed I was under federal investigation for tax fraud. It suggested the company protect itself by reviewing my finances. My stomach dropped. I forwarded it to HR immediately, along with Margot's documentation. Within hours, I sat across from our legal team. This is defamation, our head counsel said, reading the email. And clumsy. The IP address traces back to a residential provider in Colorado. My parents live in Colorado, I said quietly. He nodded. We'll handle this. The company filed a cybersecurity incident report. Within days, investigators traced the email to my parents' home IP. Margot called me that evening. Alara, they made a mistake. A big one. What happens now? Now we wait. The system moves slower than you'd like. But it moves. I hung up and stared out my apartment window. They tried to destroy me. Instead, they destroyed themselves. 3 months passed. I buried myself in work. The promotion became real. Corner office, my name on the door. Projects I'd only dreamed of leading. I hired a new team, mentored junior engineers, traveled for conferences. My life filled with purpose that had nothing to do with them. Then, one October morning, Margot called. Federal agents visited your parents yesterday. Routine questions about irregular deposits and business filings. My breath caught. What happens next? Depends what they find. But Nathaniel's LLC is flagged now. If they discover discrepancies. She didn't finish. She didn't need to. That afternoon, my mother tried calling from a number I didn't recognize. I almost answered. Then I remembered the party. The lies. The wasted years. I let it ring. She left no voicemail. That evening, I got a text from Nathaniel's girlfriend, Sienna. Your brother's company is being audited. He's losing everything. Are you happy now? I didn't respond. Their consequences weren't my responsibility. For the first time in my life, I felt no guilt. 6 months after the party, I received my first quarterly bonus. It arrived as a direct deposit. $83,000. I stared at the number, remembering every small loan I'd given. Every guilt trip. Every manipulative request. This money was mine. Fully. Finally. I transferred exactly $1.20 to my parents' joint account. No message. No explanation. Just enough to make them check their bank app. To see my name. To remember. Then I closed the transfer history and deleted their contact information. Not in anger. Not in revenge. In peace. That night, I stood on my apartment balcony, city lights stretching endlessly below. Somewhere out there, my parents were dealing with audits, legal questions, broken trust. I didn't feel victorious. I just felt free. The silence around me wasn't empty anymore. It was mine. Spring returned. A year since the party. I was promoted again. Vice President of AI Integration. My name appeared in industry publications. Conference keynotes. Advisory boards. People asked how I'd risen so fast. I smiled and said hard work. The truth was simpler. I'd stopped giving energy to people who drained it. One morning, Kimiko knocked on my office door. "Someone's here to see you. Veronica Ashford." My chest tightened. "Tell her I'm unavailable." She said it's important. I shook my head. "I'm unavailable." Kimiko nodded and left. Through my window, I watched my mother cross the parking lot, shoulders slumped. She looked smaller somehow. Older. Part of me felt sad. A small, stubborn part. But I didn't go after her. Some doors, once closed, should stay that way. My phone buzzed that evening. An email from my mother. Subject, "Please read." I hesitated, then opened it. "Ilara, I know you're angry. I don't blame you. We made mistakes. Your father and I are trying to fix things with Nathaniel. The business is gone. We're facing fines. I just want you to know we're sorry. Not because we're in trouble. Because we hurt you. I see that now. If you ever want to talk, I'm here. Mom." I read it 3 times. Part of me wanted to respond. To explain everything they'd done wrong. To demand acknowledgement for every wound. But I knew better. Apologies without change were just words. I closed the email and returned to work. Maybe someday I'd respond. Maybe not. Either way, my peace didn't depend on their understanding. 2 years after the party, I bought a house. Modern. Minimalist. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the mountains. I furnished it slowly, deliberately. Every piece chosen for me. No compromises. No ghosts. Friends came over for dinners. Colleagues celebrated promotions in my backyard. Kimiko became more than an assistant, she became someone I trusted completely. One evening, sitting on my deck with wine and silence, I realized something profound. I didn't miss them. Not the way I thought I would. I missed the idea of them. The parents I'd wanted them to be. But the actual people? The ones who'd chosen money over showing up? I didn't need them anymore. And that felt like the truest freedom I'd ever known. The final chapter came quietly. A letter arrived. Handwritten. My father's careful script. "Ilara, I won't make excuses. We failed you. Not just at the party. Before that. Always. You deserved better. I hope one day you'll let us try again. Dad." I set it on my counter and stared at it for days. Eventually, I wrote back. Not a long letter. Just a few lines. "I appreciate you writing. I'm not ready to reconnect. Maybe someday. But not yet. I hope you understand. Ilara." I mailed it without reading it twice. Closure didn't require reconciliation. It just required honesty. Now when people ask about my family, I smile and change the subject. I don't tell them about the party they missed or the money they stole or the years I wasted trying to earn love that should have been free. I just tell them I'm focused on what matters now. My work. My home. My peace. Sometimes silence isn't absence. It's the sound of a life finally built on your own terms. And that's worth more than any apology they could ever give. If you've ever had to choose yourself over people who refuse to see you, you're not alone. Share your story below, and remember, sometimes the best revenge is simply moving forward without them. Thank you for watching this story. If moments like these resonate with you, If you've ever had to choose yourself over people who couldn't see you, then you're not alone. We share stories like this every single day, real accounts of people who found their voice, set their boundaries, and walked into the life they deserved. Subscribe so you never miss next upload, and share your own story in the comments below. Your words might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. Compliments of the season. I love you all.